Okay, I didn't really think I was gonna make another one of these videos. It's been give or take 5 months, and I've done a lot since then, but I decided just to make another one. Didn't really think about what I was gonna talk about, so I might as well just talk about what I'm doing. I spent the past couple of months trying to find what I think my universe is, and it ended up with me changing my artist name. I go by Moody now for a lot of reasons, and I also have a lisp. If you can't hear it, cool. But I got my Invisalign in, and they're like retainers, and it's day 2, so I'm getting used to the thing. Anyway, the reason for this setup ties into what I was gonna talk about, but I basically made a list of things that I want to try to get done for this year. They're not really resolutions or goals really. They're just like points of growth, if that makes sense. And so one of the things on there was submit for Tiny Desk, and that's why I have the setup here. Um, and so I did that, and I also have a part in my friend's show next week that I'm going to be preparing for. And really, it's just been me making as much music as possible to figure out the kind of music that is me, or technically is Moody. And I want to go a little bit in depth about why the artist name is so good for me. I used to go by my name, right, for my music, and that just felt too not personal, but the me that I am outside of music is very different from me on stage. And so I couldn't do that like separation, like that persona if I was using my name. Um, and then I used Asira, which I think at the time I was just trying to come up with something that just sounded a little cool. Um, but when it became that your name is like your stage persona or the persona of you when you're performing, it didn't really fit because it was just a bunch of things I put together to sound cool. I was talking to a friend, and we basically talked about how I have a problem with wanting to do so many different genres of music. Sometimes I want to do rock music. Sometimes I want to do indie music. Sometimes I want to do like more J rock, J pop music. Sometimes I want to do R&B. Sometimes I want to do New Jack Swing. Sometimes I want to like that. That's the thing. And so Moody, and even when I say the name now, it sounds like a different person because she is a different person. Moody can make whatever kind of music she wants. Moody can wear whatever she wants. She can do whatever she wants. And it's not that I can't do that. It's just, it feels like a sort of freedom to say, Moody's doing that, or Moody's going to do that, or Moody doesn't care. And it didn't feel as right to just kind of use my name for that. And as soon as I got the name, it like everything fell into place. And so after that, I spent a lot of time crafting this world around who Moody's supposed to be. And that helped me figure out that one, I can make whatever music I want. I can switch it up whenever I want. Obviously, albums and stuff have some sort of cohesion, and there is something that ties someone's sound together throughout their EPs and albums and stuff. But I can do whatever. And so that kind of freed me from having all these songs that like were in their own different spaces and not knowing which ones I wanted to do and thinking that I could only do one type of thing. So this past couple months, I mean, I also got a new job, but these past couple months have been finding out who Moody is, and recently, actually, these past couple weeks, but finding out what that sound and that soundscape looks like and sounds like. I'm still learning. In the midst of all that, I want to do a lot of things this year. Um, but points of growth is just that if I don't do everything on this list, I at least do some of the things. and those things are going to help me maybe do the other things next year. And so I'm gonna submit my tiny desk by tomorrow because it's due on Monday, I think. And it was very scary. And this is like my little jank setup for it, but I spent like 30 minutes trying to figure out what to do with my room, and thank God I had a desk. But there's so many things I want to submit my work for, and there's so many ways that I want to show my art, and I think I have to be more unafraid about it. I think I just need to throw it out there. And honestly, I think solidifying my stage name was the first step, and finding that soundscape was the second step, and everything else can kind of fall in place. So, yeah, that's really it. I kind of like these little talk things. They're nice. I don't know. I just like talking to the camera about stuff. Well, about music. Yeah, I do have to stop saying all the time, but I'm trying to learn a lot of things. And I'm trying to practice a lot of things. And I'm trying to balance my life around doing all of that. And the hardest thing is balancing my life and time for music. I have a pretty long day outside of, like, work takes up a big chunk, and then when I get home I have responsibilities, and by then it's like 8, 9 o'clock, and I get up so early. So the hardest thing is finding time to do all these things, and I know that there is time, but I'm just slowly kind of interlocking everything. So this isn't like the start of a journey or anything. This is just like an update. I did a lot of things the past couple of months, like last year. I started a lot of things. I was going really, really fast, and I think I burned myself out. And so I want to take my time, because you're supposed to enjoy some part of the journey. And it's not like I wasn't enjoying it, but I was going turbo speed. I was rushing everything. And I want to have fun while I do this. It's going to be hard, but I want to have fun. So I'm working towards what I have to do in order to do that. I think that's it. I don't really know what else there is to say right now, but I just plan, or I hope that I can do some of the things that I intend to do this year. I'm not going to reveal it, but I already revealed the tiny desk thing, but I'm not going to say the other things, because, so yeah. Also, like, if my iPhone cuts off and I walk over there and didn't record any of this, I'm gonna be mad. But yeah. Also singing with this setup, and singing with a dynamic mic and stuff really forces you to hear your own voice. And that's another thing. I've been taking vocal lessons with a vocal coach and artist in my area called Sudi, and I found my voice, which is a great thing. So now I'm learning how to love it for what it is. And when you're using like this mic and like the speakers and stuff, you can't run away from your voice. Like, you're gonna hear it. And so it helps, and it's a little jarring to kind of hear what my voice actually is singing, and learning how to love that instead of like trying to mold it to fit and sound like other people. And it's the same thing with music. Hearing the things that I make that I think are cool, and not doxing, and not like cutting them off or like pushing them to the side because they don't sound like the music that I like.